Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Dhāmeśvara Prabhu, for kindly being present here today as the host. I'm so happy to see yourself and all the other wonderful devotees who are present here today for this 17th session of Shri Caitanya Siksastakam. Last time we left off on a cliffhanger where we were discussing about the various types of Sankirtans performed by Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we finally ended up at Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And we saw there that Mahaprabhu had instructed the devotees to perform Japa of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But did Mahaprabhu ever instruct them to perform kirtan of Mahamantra? And I said that this will be discussed in detail. And today is the session where we are going to discuss all of this in great detail. Of course, a lot of history is involved. And therefore, in order to discuss these details, we'll also have to take the names of a few personalities. But while taking the names of these personalities and while citing their opinions, the aim is to cite their opinions in as neutral a manner as possible and to not put any allegations on anyone's character. So to specify what happened in history and then to specify the various opinions that the various personalities have given, and then to try and bring about a conclusion from all of that. This is the aim of the presentation that we are going to have today. So welcome, dear devotees, once again to this 17th session of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Shri Siksastakam. I'm very happy to be your facilitator on this journey. We'll begin with the verse that we've composed for the first verse of Shri Siksastakam. Siksastakam Majjanmajjayati swakan Sagaurangastatasthaṁ maṁ kadabdhau krakshyati swayam. While drowning himself, Shri Gauranga simultaneously causes his near and dear ones to drown in the nectar ocean of Siksastakam. I am a mere bystander waiting at the shore. When will Shri Gauranga forcibly pull me in that nectar ocean? Dear devotees, every time we also have a new realization on Shri Harinam. So even this time, there is a verse which glorifies Shri Harinam. And this verse is as follows. Natavat papam astiha yannamna na hratam hare atireka bhayadahu prayaschittantaram buddha. This verse is originally from Yogi Yajnavalkya Smriti, and it is quoted in Bhagwan Nam Mahatmya Sangraha, a collection of the glories of Bhagwan's Nam. Na tavat papam asti iha. There's no sin in this world. Yan namna na hritam hare. That cannot be destroyed by the utterance of the names of Hari. Atireka bhayat ahu. Knowing this fact and fearing the misuse of such names. Prayaschittantaram Buddha. The learned sages prescribed all other methods of atonement in Shastra. So dear devotees, this verse is glorifying Harinam by saying that all other methods of atonement in Shastra were prescribed just because the learned people feared that people should not misuse Harinam. So it is a verse of glorification for Sri Harinam and a very sweet verse of glorification. And of course, Harinam can be misused because some people may think of committing papa, sinful activities on the strength of Harinam, and therefore that may become an aparadh for them. Therefore, there are prayaschitta antaram. There are other atonements prescribed in Shastra, just so that Harinam should not be misused. So, wonderful verse of glorification of Sri Harinam. We are still on the first verse, and we have discussed the 7 characteristics of śrī-kṛṣṇa-saṅkīrtanam. And then now we are on the main phrase, paraṁ vijayate śrī-kṛṣṇa-saṅkīrtanam. Dhāmeśvara Mahaprabhu, can you just read the section highlighted in red?
That entity named Shri Krishna's Sankirtan reigns supremely victorious.
Śrī-kṛṣṇa-saṅkīrtanam. Dear devotees, Shri refers to Srimati Radharani, and one of the names of Srimati Radharani specified by our previous acharyas is Hara. So Hara means Harati iti Hara, she who snatches away all the distress of Sri Krishna, or she who snatches away all the distress of her devotees. She is known as Hara. So Śrī-kṛṣṇa-saṅkīrtanam, Shri refers to Hare and Krishna Sankirtanam. In one way, it also refers to Hare Krishna Sankirtanam, Param Vijayate. That supremely victorious is Shri or Hare Krishna Sankirtanam. But there is a problem, dear devotees, and as I specified last time, that Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu had instructed the residents of Navadvip in the Mahamantra, and in this instruction there is something peculiar. I'll repeat this particular instruction. Mahaprabhu first utters the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So he chants the Mahamantra and then Prabhu kahe kahilam, a Mahamantra. Prabhu said, I am telling you this is Mahamantra. I am giving you this Mahamantra. Iha japa giya sabe, kariya nirbandha. Iha japa. Literal translation, all of you go and perform japa of this mantra. Kariya nirbandha. Nirbandha means by taking a firm vow. Some interpret nirbandha as by taking a fixed quantity. So, all of you go and perform japa of this mantra by taking a vow or taking a fixed quantity. Iha haite sarva siddhi, haibe sabar, sarva kshana bala ite, vidhi nahi aar. Iha haite sarva siddhi. By this mantra, you will receive all siddhis, all perfections of life. Sarva kshana bala. So continue to chant incessantly. Ithe vidhi nahi aar. But there are no rules and regulations in regards to such chanting. Dear devotees, here Mahaprabhu is specifying the term japa, and he is also specifying nirbandha. Nirbandha means take a vow of a fixed quantity. Due to these two reasons, there are certain Gaudiya Vaishnavas who have the opinion that Mahaprabhu has given this Mahamantra only for japa, not for kirtan. Historically, we need to look into who these Gaudiya Vaishnavas are and what are their opinions, because many times their own opinions are not represented properly by their own disciples and grand disciples. So we will see what are their exact opinions, and then we will see what other Vaishnavas of that time have to say about this particular line of thought that Hare Krishna Mahamantra should only be chanted for Japa, not for Kirtan. So dear devotees, the origin of the contention begins in the 19th century with a personality who was prominently staying in Jagannath Puri and Navadvip. This personality's name was Radha Raman Charan Das Dev, and his followers used to affectionately call him Bada Baba. Bada means elder. And from 1853 to 1905 is his lifespan. And dear devotees, he was a very influential personality. He used to sing many kirtans, and there are many miracles attributed to him. And he had quite a number of followers, especially in Jagannath Puri and Navadvip. His biography is called Charit Sudha. His biography was written by his contemporary, Ramdas Babaji. And in his biography, it is very clearly mentioned. This is a screenshot from his biography, where it says that Shri Nityanand Prabhu Kripa Kariya, Babaji Mahashay ke Nija Shakti Pradhan Kariya Chile. That Nityanand Prabhu gave him his potency, and therefore by this potency, he, he got this Nam Kirtan. And what is that Nam Kirtan, dear devotees? That Nam Kirtan is mentioned here, that this chant, Bhaja Nitai Gaur Radhe Shyam Japa Hare Krishna Hare Ram. And the biography says very clearly this was composed by Bada Baba. I'll go back to the Bengali. It says, Ei Madhur Naam Gan Siddha Charan Das Babaji Mahashayar Rachit. So it is composed by Bada Baba. And it is he who preached this chanting, and his disciples and followers sheltered at his feet became intoxicated in the kirtan of this chant and got maddened in the joy of devotional dance and kirtan. So this is from the first volume of his biography. And when this particular chant was propagated, the meaning of this chant is as follows. Bhaja means you should worship, Nitai and Gaur, and Radhe and Shyam, and Japa. For your solitary chanting, you should have Hare Krishna and Hare Ram. And now they used to chant this mantra, this Naam they used to chant loudly. So even if you go to their mathas today, they will be chanting this loudly, because the entire Mahamantra is not there. Only the three words of the Mahamantra are there. So technically you are not loudly chanting the Mahamantra, but it's an instruction to perform silent Japa of the Mahamantra. So they say that you should silently perform Japa of the Mahamantra. Don't utter the Mahamantra loudly. And for your worship, you should worship Nitai Gaur and Radha and Shyam. So since this was introduced around between 1853 and around 1890, between this time he introduced this chanting, the followers started propagating it. And as soon as the followers started propagating it, some of the Vaishnavas certainly got concerned about it, because this was not done before by any previous Acharya. So the Vaishnavas obviously got concerned that a new chant is being propagated. And contemporary Vaishnava who was staying in Jagannath Puri at that particular point of time was the district magistrate Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahashay. So Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahashay was also in Jagannath Puri, and he was a contemporary at that particular point of time. Obviously, he knew that this chant is being propagated and they are restricting the kirtan of Hare Krishna Mahamantra by saying that it is a secret mantra given in the Vedas. It should not be chanted in kirtan, and Mahaprabhu has instructed people to perform japa, not kirtan. So it seems that there was some shastric support for that, and so Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and many other Vaishnavas of that time were writing about it and were giving their views about it. Dear devotees, this is Radharaman Charan Das Babaji. His name is quite long, so for the sake of this discussion, I'll simply call him Charan Das Babaji. This is Charan Das Babaji. His associate is Ram Das Babaji, who gave the preface to his biography. And they had a third companion who was originally in a masculine body, but later he took feminine dress. So Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur became very concerned about this, and he listed it as an upper sampradaya of individuals who are in a masculine body but who take up a feminine dress. He was given the name Lalita Sakhi Dasi. They used to call him Sakhi-ma. And Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur used to call such individuals Sakhi-bheki. Sakhi-bheki means they are taking the vesh, they are taking the dress of a Sakhi, although they are in a masculine body. So even till this date, dear devotees, there are many sampradayas in Bengal and in Vrindavan where a man dresses up as a lady in order to um, consider themselves as some gopi. So even in Vrindavan today, 2025, you go, please don't be shocked if you find some people who are in a masculine body and who dress as gopis. They are to be found in many sampradayas in Vrindavan, not only Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. And in Navadvip and in Jagannath Puri, this was going on even at the time of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahasaya. So the name of this third personality, Sakhima, originally was Gopal Krishna. He was masculine body, but then due to some reason, some incident, he took up this vesh, he took up this feminine dress, which Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and quite a few other Vaishnavas did not appreciate very much. Their devotees. So these are the historical personalities from whom this opinion started propagating that Hare Krishna Mahamantra should be chanted mainly in Japa, not in Kirtan. Dear devotees, however, as they also took support of this particular statement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that all of you should go and perform Japa. And even today, there are followers of this particular branch of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they say that Mahamantra should not be performed on Kirtan. It should only be, you should only chant Japa. Somehow, the misinformation and misunderstanding has increased a lot to the point that I recently saw a particular video where somebody was putting a false accusation on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that he invented Mahamantra Kirtan. This obviously is incorrect because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has not invented Mahamantra Kirtan, because they were saying that before Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, nobody used to chant Mahamantra in Kirtan. They used to only chant other songs in Kirtan, but not the Mahamantra. So obviously this is incorrect, and proper research has not been done by those who are making such a claim. Dear devotees, actually speaking, Charan Das Babaji also once performed Mahamantra Kirtan. It is documented in his biography. So if we establish that he also has performed Mahamantra Kirtan, it will be very clear that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur at least is not the first one to do it. Even before him, there were devotees doing it. So his position is as follows, that they emphasize the chanting of the names that he has created. And this is the chant. And Mahamantra is primarily for Japa. And Mahamantra, his followers say Mahamantra should not be chanted in Kirtan, should only be chanted softly or silently during Japa. The reasoning they gave is that Mahamantra is a mantra, and traditionally all mantras were chanted softly during Japa, not in Kirtan. So for their Kirtan, they sing some Naam, Hari Harai Nama, or Krishna 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 He, or they don't sing Mahamantra, or they sing Leela Kirtan, pastime songs, and songs created by, their particular gurus. Once in his particular life, he was asked a question by his follower, and this is from the original Charita Sudha, the original biography. In the Bangla, it says the Bhakta, his follower asks, Agge Hare Krishna Name ki Premer Uday Hai na. So, those who read Bangla can later see this. I am giving a translation. So, can Prema not arise today by Hare Krishna Nam? And the reply by Charan Das Babaji was, why do you say so? Mahaprabhu never said that Prema will arise only by a particular name or not arise by a particular name. Mahaprabhu has said, and then he quoted Chaitanya Charitamrita. Khaite shuite yatha tatha namalai kala desha niyam nahi sarva siddhi hai. Utter the names of Krishna in all ways, even while eating or sleeping. There is no restriction of time or place. In this regard, all perfection is achieved in this way. Then he made a statement. Certainly, all of you who are present here today should get together and in a loud voice perform the kirtan. The term kirtan was used. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You will understand for yourself. And then as soon as he instructed, all of them started the kirtan of Hare Krishna Mahamantra in a harmoniously audible voice. But dear devotees, please note this. At this time, Charan Das Babaji started counting. So they were performing kirtan, but he started counting at that particular point of time. So this might seem a little strange to some of you, but he believed in kirtan, but he said that kirtan should also be counted. Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu Prabhu, do you feel it is easy to count while kirtan is going on?
No, it becomes a distraction, right?
Yeah, because one person has to dedicatedly sit for the counting while other people perform kirtan. And well, the instruction was that Mahaprabhu instructed everybody to chant and keep a count. So it's not that one person has to keep the count and everybody else can chant. He told everybody to keep a count. So Prabhu, while performing kirtan, if everybody simultaneously keeps a count, how easy do you think Mahamantra kirtan will be?
I guess we'd have to use our Japa beads.
Yeah.
But
So
it would certainly add a layer of
yeah.
activity.
Yeah. So it is very difficult and also seems strange that while performing kirtan, one has to maintain a count. But this is what it says in his biography. As I said today, my aim here today is not to, cast allegations on anybody. There are individuals who cast allegations in their videos, in their research, so on and so forth. But that is not the purpose of this series. The purpose of this series is to understand Śrī-Kṛṣṇa-Saṅkīrtanam. But some historical facts have to be discussed. So for the sake of that, I am discussing all of these. Dear devotees, regarding the Mahamantra, so the actual fact is that on some occasions he had his followers perform Kirtan of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is the fact from his biography. However, he was counting at the time when they were performing Kirtan. So this is called a Sankhya Purvaka Kirtan. Kirtan means, Sankhya Purvak Kirtan means Kirtan with counting added, which is obviously difficult. But nonetheless, he did it for Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He was not doing it for any other Kirtan. He was not doing it for Hari Hare Namaha. He was not doing it for any other names. But when Mahamantra was chanted, he started counting it also because he considered Hare Krishna as a mantra which should be counted as instructed by Mahaprabhu. So this is his belief. And since Japa, the devotees, Mahaprabhu has said chant Japa. And since Japa can be loud, and this loud Japa falls in the category of Kirtan. So as long as counting is there, he asked his followers on certain occasions to perform Mahamantra Kirtan. But usually, normally, nowadays, his followers do not perform Mahamantra Kirtan because it is difficult to keep a count simultaneously and also because it is a mantra. But they instead perform Kirtan of the chant which he created. And this chant I have already specified. When they chant these particular names, they don't keep a count because this is Nam. According to them, this is Nam. So Nam you can chant without a count, but mantra you have to chant with a count. So because of this, they are chanting this particular name, which he created, which he personally composed as written in his biography. And then this is what his followers are chanting. Dear devotees, it is the nature of organized religion. It is the nature of any form of religion which becomes institutionalized, that over a period of time, some changes start creeping into it. And this was one of the change that started happening with this particular personality. Let's look into Shastra Praman. Let's look into historically what Mahaprabhu has said, because we have looked only into the only one statement from Chaitanya Bhagavat. We should also look into other instances where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is performing kirtan of Mahamantra. One very popular place where a description of Mahaprabhu performing Mahamantra Kirtan is found is in Sri Rupa Goswami's Stavamala. In the Stavamala is a collection of Sri Rupa Goswami's poetry, and there are many verses there dedicated to various topics. And one of the poetry is Chaitanya-Śikṣāṣṭakam, the first Chaitanya-Śikṣāṣṭakam, 8 verses dedicated to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In that Chaitanya-Śikṣāṣṭakam, in the 5th verse, which is in the meter Shikharini, Sri Rupa Goswami speaks something about Hare Krishna Nam. I'll sing this verse, dear devotees, kindly listen. Hare Krishna tyuchai spuritar sano namagadana krita granthi shreni subhagakatti sutro jvalakara Vishalakshu dirghargala yugal khela chitabhuja Sachaitanya kim me punarapi drishoryasyati padam. Sri Rupa Goswami says in the 5th verse of first Chaitanya-Śikṣāṣṭakam, Hare Krishneti uchchai uchchai spuritarasano. His tongue vibrated loudly, uchchai. What? Hare Krishneti, Hare Krishna, iti. In the commentary to this, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says it was not only Hare Krishna, because somebody may object here and say it was only Hare Krishna, not the entire Mahamantra. So in the commentary to this, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says it was the entire Mahamantra. So Hare Krishna iti means Hare Krishna Adi, beginning with Hare Krishna. So he chanted the entire Mahamantra. But dear devotees, immediately Rupa Goswami says, Nam Ganana Krita Granthi Shreni Subhagakati Sutro Jvalakara. His hand held the brilliant knotted rope around his waist to count the names. In those days, there were no bead bags. The beads were usually around one's, waist, and they used to make out of knots. Or sometimes they used to have beads, but there were no bags for covering the beads. So they had these beads around. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had these beads around his waist, and he used to count on those beads as he's loudly uttering Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, dear devotees, this is Shastra Praman that Mahamantra can be uttered loudly. I hope you are able to understand. Uchchaihi. Uchchaihi means loudly. So, at least we know from Sri Rupa Goswami, who was a direct witness of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to vibrate loudly, chant loudly, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So at least we know historically that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra was uttered loudly by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But again, this is Sankhya Kirtan. Sankhya Kirtan means he was counting. Basically, this was loud Japa. I hope you are able to understand. This was loud Japa. Many of us perform loud Japa. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to perform loud Japa. And then Sri Rupa Goswami says he has wide eyes. And as he performs his pastimes, his arm reached down to his knees. And such Chaitanya Kimme, will that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again appear on the pathway of my eyes? So this is a prayer to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So go to Shastra Praman, and we got to know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to perform Japa. Now, dear devotees, a very similar verse is also found in the writings of Sri Ragunath Das Goswami, who in his Tavavali has also written Chaitanya-Ashtakam. 8 verses for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In that Ashtakam also, in the 5th verse, he says something. In the same meter, Shikharini. Nijatve gaudiyan jagati parigraya prabhuriman Hare Krishnetyevam ganana vedena kirtayata bho Edi prayam shiksham janaka eva tebhyam paridishan Shachi suru kim menayana saranim yasyati padam. So, nijatve gaudiyam jagati. In this world, he has accepted the Gaudiyas as his own. Nijatve parigrihya. Having accepted the Gaudiyas as his own, Prabhuriman, our Prabhu, what does he do? He gives them instruction affectionately. What instruction does he give them? Hare Krishnetyevam ganana vedena kirtayata bho. All of you perform kirtayata. He says kirtayata means perform kirtan of Hare Krishna. But he says ganana vidhina, by counting. Again, dear devotees, he is saying loudly utter Japa, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Because loud Japa falls in the category of kirtan. Many times we have discussed, Sri Sanatana Goswami says, loud Japa falls in the category of kirtan. Silent Japa falls in the category of Smaran. Soft Japa, Upamshu Japa, neither falls in the category of Kirtan nor in the category of Smaran. So, ideal Japa recommended by Sanatana Goswami is soft Upamshu Japa. But here Mahaprabhu is telling them loudly perform Kirtan. In other words, he is telling them perform Japa loudly, but count the names. And then he says, Janaka iva tebhya paridishan. He instructs them exactly as a Janak, as an affectionate father teaches a son. So this is the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like a father teaches his children. So similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching his followers. Shachi Shunu Kimme. The same thing. Will that son of Shachi Devi appear on the pathway of my eyes? Once again, we have another confirmation that Kirtayata, loud utterance should be there of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we have two confirmations. One from Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, one from Sri Ragunath Das Goswami. Both of them have met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, have seen him personally. Two confirmations are enough. And dear devotees, we can confidently and loudly utter Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But both of them have said that this instruction was regarding audible loud japa. We have not yet arrived at any instruction which specifies audible kirtan without counting. I hope you are able to understand. All of these instructions are specifying counting. We want an instruction where Mahaprabhu is not asking them to count. That is what we are looking for. And it should also be in relation to Hare Krishna Mahamantra, not in relation to any other Naam. Now, this is a very difficult thing, but still, definitely, dear devotees, there are pramanas for asankhya kirtan. Asankhya means without counting kirtan. This is found in Govinda Dasa's Karcha, in the notes of Sri Govinda Das. This was published by the University of Calcutta. Bahu prasariya prabhu brahmane to lela तार घरे भक्ति भरे गान आरंभेला. In Navadvip, when Mahaprabhu returned from Gaya, he had, his extra transformation of heart, his pastime of, beginning to spread Sankirtan. One fine day, he went to a Brahmana's home. With his arms outstretched, Mahaprabhu lifted the Brahmana and began singing out of devotional fervor. And what happened? Brahmanera ghara yena Haila Vrindavana. The home of the Brahman became like Vrindavan. And Harinama Shuni Bare. I say Sarva Jana. And everybody came to hear Harinam. Dear devotees, this was no longer private Japa. Everybody came to hear. And what was the Harinam? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is from Govinda Das's Kadcha, Govinda Das's Kadcha. So I am specifying the original scan so that I have not just made it up. This is the original Bengali of Govinda Das's Kadcha, and you can also see the page number in Bengali. And dear devotees, this edition was published by the University of Calcutta. I am giving the cover page so that devotees who wish to look it up can find this edition and they can find this particular quote. Mahaprabhu here is not giving any instruction about Sankhya. He's just directly chanting. It is said, Gana. He started singing like a song. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Gana Arambila. Everybody started listening. Nobody was keeping a count here. Dhāmeśvara Mahaprabhu, does this sound like Japa or Kirtan?
It sounds like kirtan.
With counting or without counting?
There's no mention of counting.
There's no mention of counting. This, dear devotees, is one praman for Kirtan without counting. Free Kirtan. No necessity for counting. Now, dear devotees, some people may say, Govinda Das's notes, we don't know, we may not believe. Some people say, we don't know if it was really written by Govinda Das or not. So some people may cast a doubt on Govinda Das's Kadcha. But another praman is given by none other than Sri Kavi-karnapur in his Chaitanya Charita Mahakavyam. Chaitanya Charita Mahakavyam. Great Kavita is great poetry on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The pastime is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is taking sannyas. And before taking sannyas, he has to shave his head. And you can see in the painting, Mahaprabhu is there. And Keshav Bharti, Sri Keshav Bharti, sannyas guru is there. And then there is the barber who is going to shave Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's hair. This pastime is described by Sri Kavi-karnapur. Same meter. Tata Shri Gauranga Samabhadarati va Pramudito Hare Krishnetyuchairvada Muhuriti Shri Mayatanu Tadosau Tatprocha Pradivanetaro Chalalito Rudam stat karma rabata bahu dukhair vidalita. Tata Shri Gauranga, Shri Mayatanu. Then the beautiful bodied Gauranga spoke Ativa Pramudito, joyously to the barber. Everybody was unhappy. Mahaprabhu is very happy. What did he say? Hare Krishna tu chairvada, loudly and repeatedly utter Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Now, dear devotees, it's very logical. The barber is supposed to have his shaving instrument in his hand. He cannot hold beads in his hand. So at that particular point of time, what happened? The barber's hair stood on end, and while uttering Hare Krishna loudly, while he was uttering, but he was distressed in many ways because he's shaving the beautiful hair of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And while chanting Hare Krishna loudly, he began the shaving procedure, and the entire shaving procedure was performed as the barber was loudly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So dear devotees, here there is absolutely no possibility that this is Sankhya or this is counting based Japa. This is Asankhya Kirtan. Kirtan free of any sense of counting. So historically, dear devotees, I have told you the major pramanas from Shastra about Mahamantra Japa instructions and Mahamantra Kirtan instructions. So sometimes only instructions for Japa of Mahamantra are highlighted, but the instructions for Kirtan are not highlighted. Sometimes instructions for Kirtan are highlighted, but they say you have to chant by keeping a count. But actually speaking, it is not possible in a free-flowing kirtan to keep a count. No? So therefore, it is best to perform kirtan without such restrictions. And japa, of course, should be performed by keeping a count. So this is standard procedure. Dear devotees, let's come back to Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. How did Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur respond to this particular new development that happened in Jagannath Puri? It is described in a book published by the Gaudiya Math, and this book lists the various sampradayas or various branches that had come up in Jagannath Puri and in Navadvip during Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur's time. And then the Bangla says, Puri te ek samay Shri Charan Das name ek Babaji vibhinna sthane kirtan kare বেড়াতেন তিনি মাঝে মাঝে বৈষ্ণব চূড়ামণি শ্রীল ভক্তি বিনোদ ঠাকুরের কাছে আসতেন. So it says, at one time in Jagannath Puri, an individual named Shri Charan Das Babaji performed kirtan at various places. He would come from time to time to meet Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So it is specified there that Charan Das Babaji met Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur many times. Then it is said Charan Das Babaji would perform kirtan of a chant created by himself and he would travel to various places. And we know what that chant is. It was specified in the previous slides. Then the Bangla says Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur asked him to perform Hare Krishna Mahamantra Kirtan instead of this newly created chant. But however, even after telling him, he did not give up kirtan of the Naam he created. And then in Jagannath Puri, he also propagated the opinions of the Sakhi-bheki group. So this is a book published by the Gaudiya Math, Vaishnav Namadhari Apasampradaya. It is specified there that Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur had repeatedly requested him that please perform Mahamantra Kirtan. And obviously all these pramanas also Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur would have shown. But somehow that request or that instruction of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur was not taken seriously. So dear devotees, this is what has happened historically. And Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur was then identified this particular group, which externally is in a male body, but they dress externally also as a female. So he identified them as Sakhi-bheki, and then he called them Apasampradaya, or it is a deviation from what Mahāprabhu taught. Why is it a deviation, dear devotees? The reason for this deviation is because Srila Rupa Goswami is eternally situated as Shri Rupa Manjari. Shri Rupa Goswami knows his eternal position as Shri Rupa Manjari. But Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, in day-to-day life, did Shri Rupa Goswami dress as Rupa Manjari?
Absolutely not.
No. Sri Jiva Goswami is established as Vilas Manjari. But does Sri Jiva Goswami dress in a feminine dress of Sri Vilas Manjari, Prabhu?
No way.
No way. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is Param Rasik Mahavaishnav Chudamani. He is the crest jewel of the greatest Rasikas of all time. Yet, he knows the distinction between Sadhaka Deha, practitioner's body, and Siddha Deha, perfected body. He knows that in a practitioner's body, you have to dress according to the gender that you've been assigned at the time of birth. So that is what a practitioner's body is. And in a perfected body, that will be in the spiritual world, or that is within the mind of the perfected mind of the sadhaka. So in that Siddha Deha, the dress is different. But the external dress should not be feminine for a person who is in a masculine body. So when the previous acharyas have not done this, and if somebody starts doing it, obviously there will be some raised eyebrows, and Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur identified that this practice is not good. Even if somebody has immense fervor that I think of myself as a lady, first and foremost, we have to understand, we have to try and understand the fact that this cannot be propagated for the masses. Because if the masses start doing like this, then the spiritual movement will fall in a disarray. And even if a leader does this, they should understand whether, is it really a genuine emotion that one feels like a lady, and if it is a genuine emotion, why not keep it within the heart? So dear devotees, there are many considerations which Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur had, and therefore he listed it as an apasampradaya, as a deviation from what the six Goswamis have practiced in their life, from what Mahaprabhu has practiced in his life. Mahaprabhu is Shri Radha Bhav. He has the mood of Shri Radha. Not only does he have the mood of Shri Radha, he also has the bodily luster of Shri Radha. Only one step away from taking the dress of Shri Radha. But does Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu take the dress of Shri Radha? The answer is absolutely no. So when Mahaprabhu didn't do it, the six Goswamis didn't do it. When Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti didn't do it, when Shri Baldev Vidyabhushan didn't do it, when Shri Jagannath Das Babaji didn't do it, when all the great personalities of the past didn't do it, then to suddenly start a group around men dressing as ladies and then ladies sometimes dressing as Shri Krishna. So this was very dangerous, dear devotees, and Sri Bhakti Vinod Thakur identified them as an apasampradaya to warn others that this practice is not good. This became known as Sakhi-bheki, and this group was supported by Charan Das Babaji, as it is specified here. Dear devotees, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was also obviously his mood is more proactive, and in his speech against this particular line of thought, he very clearly said that this chant is not bona fide because it has many philosophical problems. His disciple Sri Sundaranand Vidya Vinod notes in his biography Saraswati Jayashri that he once posed a query to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada about this chant Bhajanitai Gaur Radhesham, and then in response he said, Amar Prashner Uttare Prabhupada, ए आधुनिक कल्पित उ गीत पद्यटिर बहुप्रकार सिद्धांत विरोध उ रसाभास दोषेर कथा शास्त्र युक्ति मूले बुझाइया दियाछिलेन. In reply to my query, Prabhupada explained to me logically from Shastra and the various contradictions and rasabhas in the newly created chant, and that chant we have already seen. Dear devotees, what were these shastric contradictions? What is rasabhas? Rasabhas means Sri Rupa Goswami says that which externally appears as ras but is devoid of the characteristics of ras is called rasabhas, semblance of ras. There are many types of rasabhas there, various contradictions there. So this was specified by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disciple, Sri Sundaranand Vidya Vinod in his Saraswati Jayashri. Dear devotees, what were the objections of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur? Now let's get to the philosophical objections. We have seen how Hare Krishna Mahamantra is bona fide for kirtan. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur did not stop there. He said there is also a problem with this newly created chant. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur specified the various issues. First, dear devotees, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said there is Shabda Vyavadhan, disruption of the sequence of words. Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, Prabhu, what is the sequence of words in the Kali Santarana Upanishad for the Mahamantra?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hiri Shodashagam Nam Kali Kalmashanashanam Nata Nata Parayo. I forgot the
Bharataropaya. Yeah.
rest. It's been a minute.
Yeah. So, but if we chant this Nitai Gaur Radhe Sham Hare Krishna Hare, if we continuously chant this, there are words which are interfering the utterance of the 16 words in sequence. So this is called Shabda Vyavadhan. Disruption of the sequence of the mantra is occurring in this particular chant. This was the first philosophical objection of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. You cannot disrupt a mantra given directly in the Vedas. So this was the first particular objection of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Second, Tattva Vyavadhan. There is disruption of Tattva of Mahamantra. What is the Tattva of Mahamantra? The Tattva Vyavadhan, or there are many philosophical issues with this particular thing. What are the philosophical issues? Because the first line says, Bhaja Nitai and Gaur, worship Nitai and Gaur. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said in Chaitanya Bhagavat that yadi ama prati prem thakibe tomar tabe Krishna vyatirikta na gaibe ar. And I will show you this particular thing from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has himself said, if you have any love for me, don't speak about any topics other than Krishna. So dear devotees, to include the name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu in a daily regular chant, it in a way goes against the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he says that you should not speak about any topics or any names other than the names of Krishna. So this, dear devotees, is what you call Tattva Vyavadhan, disruption of Tattva of Mahamantra. And there is Purvacharya Avagya, disobedience of the previous Acharyas. So the previous Acharyas, Dhāmeśvara Mahaprabhu, when they have explained the Mahamantra, they have explained all 16 words of the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, every word has been explained separately and separate meanings have been given to all the 16 words. But when you only include Hare Krishna and Hare Ram, you're only including 4 amongst the 16. What will you do with the remaining 12 words, and how will you bring about the meaning of the remaining 12 words in such a kirtan? Will it be possible? Please tell me. No, it will not be possible. So the previous acharyas have never chanted in such a way. They have never prescribed it in such a way. And the full meanings of the 16 meanings of the 16 words will not come out in a single flow if you chant this new set of names. So these were some of the main objections. I am giving the reference. This was in Gaudiya magazine, 7th volume, published in December 1928. So these were some of the main objections that he had. Of course, he had many more objections, especially against the cross-dressing, men dressing like women. But as far as philosophical objections about the newly invented chant, these were his objections. Now, devotees should not think that this is just a tussle between the Gaudiya Math and one particular group, or Sri Bhakti Vinod Thakur and one particular group. Because coming up next, dear devotees, is another commentator who commented on this verses of Chaitanya Bhagavat. We have seen these Chaitanya Bhagavat verses where Mahaprabhu is saying, go and perform japa by taking a vow. Commenting upon this, Shri Radha Govindanath started speaking about the issue. So the reason for quoting these personalities is because it should not appear that this was just a conflict between the Gaudiya Math and Charan Das Babaji, or Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Charan Das Babaji. The differences of opinion also came from various other personalities from various other branches of Mahaprabhu's lineage. So Sri Radha Govindanath, in his commentary, because he also wrote a commentary on Chaitanya Bhagavat, in his commentary on Chaitanya Bhagavat, he writes, and this is a summary of it because multi-page commentary, but I'm giving a summary. He said Mahaprabhu asked the residents of Navadvip to perform Japa of the Mahamantra. Fair enough. He said Japa can be of all 3 types: Vachik, loud; Upamshu, soft; and Manasik, silent within the mind. So there's absolutely no fault mentioned anywhere in case the Mahamantra is chanted in a loud manner. This is Sri Radha Govindanath saying there's no fault to chant Mahamantra in a loud manner. Even Sri Rupa Goswami says in the Stavavali, and he quoted the same verse that I quoted a few slides ago, where Sri Rupa Goswami said Mahaprabhu loudly uttered Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He said in the commentary to this, Sri Baldev Vidyabhushan has confirmed that the term Hare Krishna refers to the entire Mahamantra of 16 words. And he said the Kali Santarana Upanishad itself says about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and he quotes the Kali Santarana Upanishad, Na Asya Vidhi. There are no specific rules for this Mahamantra. Therefore, one should not add any new rules to this. This is his commentary on Chaitanya Bhagavat. His commentary was called Nitai Karuna Kallolini Tika on Chaitanya Bhagavat, from the section where Mahaprabhu is instructing the residents of Navadvip to audibly utter Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Finally, dear devotees, we also have Shri Kanu Priya Goswami, because how can he not speak about such an important topic? He wrote a 3-volume book called as Nam Chintamani, which is his magnum opus on Harinam. And because of this book, he was called as Nam Vigyan Acharya, the Acharya who knows the science of Harinam. In his book, in the second volume, page 355 onwards, he starts writing. Very important, dear devotees, please hear carefully. He says, one of the 10 Nam Apradhas is Harinamni Kalpanam. To manufacture some imaginary rule in relation to Harinam. He begins with this. One of the 10 Nam Apradhas is to imagine something in relation to Harinam. He says to trivialize the glory of Harinam by saying that it should only be chanted in Japa, not in Kirtan, or to say that it should always be counted. All these are examples of this aparadha of adding one's own imagination to the utterance of Harinam. I can see a fresh perspective because we saw the perspective of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we saw the perspective of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Now you see the fresh perspective. He says it is actually one of the 10 Namapradas of adding one's imagination to the chanting of Harinam. Then he says, there's another imagination, he says, which is now popular. He says, first, this imagination is some people are saying, first, the jiva has to externally make efforts and become trinadapi sunichena, lower than a blade of grass. And only after he becomes lower than a blade of grass, then only Nam will give result. So separately, you have to first become lower than a blade of grass and then chant Nam. It's not that Nam will make you lower than a blade of grass. No, no. Through your own efforts, you become lower than a blade of grass. And only then Nam will give its result. This takes away the freedom of Harinam, dear devotees. Nam can give result to anybody. And to make somebody Trinadapi Sunichena, that also is possible through Nam. You don't need to do anything separately. Nam is complete in itself. He's saying people should not add their imagination to Harinam. He's saying, then he asks the question, should one chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra without Sankhya, without counting? And then he said, in reply, the Hari Bhakti Vilas has said, Yaccha abhiruchitam nama tat sarvartheshu yojet. Whatever name is dear to one can be utilized in all activities of life. Don't worry. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is dear to you, you can use it in all places in life. While eating, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. While sleeping, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Why? There is also an incident of Gopal Guru Goswami, where Mahāprabhu is chanting the Mahamantra and Gopal Guru Goswami, Mahaprabhu is holding his tongue. Gopal Guru Goswami asks, why are you holding your tongue? And Mahaprabhu says, it's because, I'm going to answer the call of nature and my body is impure. So Gopal Guru Goswami says, well, at the time of death, everybody's body is impure. Should they stop chanting the Mahamantra at the time of death? So Mahaprabhu said, oh, wow, Gopal Guru, you are Guru actually. You gave me a good instruction. So that day, he started calling Gopal as Gopal Guru. So, Shri Kanu Priya Goswami says, chant in all places, all times and all circumstances. It says, if however someone says that Hare Krishna Mahamantra gives result only when uttered in soft or silent japa and not otherwise, then they are making their own imagined rule as superior and they are trivializing the glories of the Mahamantra. Such a thought process leads to the Nam Aparadha of imagining something in relation to Harinam. Then he says, some medicines are to be consumed. Some medicines are externally applied as ointments. He says, some are to be inhaled through the nose. Actually, Kanu Priya Goswami belongs to a family of Vaidya, belongs to a family of physicians, so he knows. Some are to be inhaled through nose. For each medicine, the prescription clearly specifies the method of using the medicine. Similarly, if there was any specific method of chanting Mahamantra only in Japa and not in Kirtan, or chanting it only by counting, then Shastras and Acharyas would have specified such methods clearly. Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, did the six Goswamis specify any prescription of chanting Mahamantra only in Japa and not in Kirtan?
No, Prabhuji.
Did they specify any prescription that you should count compulsorily while uttering Kirtan of Mahamantra?
No.
No. So when the physicians have not given the prescription, it means that the medicine has come without prescriptions. It is all-purpose medicine. All-purpose medicine it is. Very good. He says, however, Shastra does not specify any rules in relation to Kirtan of Mahamantra and other names. In fact, Shastra says Sankirtan removes all faults. It will not bring a fault. It removes all faults. Why are we saying that Sankirtan will become a fault if chanted loudly? So, he quotes a verse from the Bhagavatam. Mantratas tantratas chidram deshakalarha vastutah sarvam karoti nischidram manusankirtanam tava. There may be discrepancies in pronouncing the mantras and observing the regulative principles. And moreover, there may be discrepancies in regard to time, place, person, and paraphernalia. But sarvam karoti nischidram anusankirtanam. But the repeated sankirtan of your names, O Bhagwan, it makes everything faultless. So this is, he quotes Srimad Bhagavatam. I have taken part of the translation from Srila Prabhupada, and the last line I have translated myself because I wanted to highlight the term Sankirtanam. So Prabhupada translated as chanting, but I wanted to highlight Sankirtanam, therefore I have translated the last sentence differently. Then Sri Kanu Priya Goswami says, the conclusion of Hari Bhakti Vilas, everybody should note as follows. Harer Nama Param Japyam. Hari's Naam, Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, Harer Nama Param. Which is the Param, which is the topmost name of Hari in Kali Yuga? Please tell me.
Krishna.
And which is the topmost mantra of Krishna in Kali Yuga?
The Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
So Harer Nama Param, the topmost Hari Naam, which is the Mahamantra, is Japyam. You can also chant it in Japa. Dhyayam Geyam Nirantaram. You can also meditate upon it. And Geyam Kirtaniyam chant. You can sing it and perform Kirtan. Nivrittir Bahudechata. If you desire the topmost bliss. So he quotes this as a praman that Harer Nama Param, the topmost Harinam, can also be chanted as Japa, can be meditated upon, can be sung in Kirtan for those who desire the topmost bliss. Further, he says, if you don't believe this, all these pramanas, then at least believe the character of Sri Haridas Thakur, which is proof in itself that the Mahamantra can be uttered loudly. One should know that Harinam should be chanted as Japa by fixing a quantity. Yes, this should be done to follow Sadachar. What is Sadachar? Good conduct of keeping one's vow to the Guru. This is one should do this every day. One should chant a fixed quantity that the Guru has given. This is Sadachar. This is good conduct because you are maintaining your vow. But after your fixed vow is complete, one should also chant Mahamantra freely without counting in the remaining free time. What is the harm in this? So, Sankhya Naam, Asankhya Naam. Naam with counting, Naam without counting. There are no restrictions to Harinam. So there is no restriction that Mahamantra should only be chanted by counting it. And then he gives a brilliant example, especially for a person who's about to die. Imagine a person who's about to die. The near and dear ones don't chant the Mahamantra by counting it. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. One mantra we chanted. Two mantras we chanted. As long as the person is breathing, till that time we will continue to chant. As soon as they have left their body, even after they leave their body, we continue to chant for them. They're devotees. We don't fix a quantity for Mahamantra, especially for those who are about to die. The brilliant example given by Shri Kanu Priya Goswami here. He says, to specify rules for counting each Mahamantra in such situations is artificial and illogical. He directly says this, it's artificial and illogical. This is the summary of the arguments given by Shri Kanu Priya Goswami in his Naam Chintamani. Dear devotees, I have just given a summary. And those who are interested, they should look it up in detail. Once again, I am saying one thing. See, when we speak about certain historical personalities, my aim is to not speak against anybody's character. But the aim is to speak about the philosophical positions that they have taken. So in today's presentation, I have not spoken against anybody's character. Usually, I keep the presentation free of institutions and individuals. But this particular presentation cannot be done without naming the individuals who were historically involved in this entire contention. So therefore, respectfully, I have taken the names of all of them. And I don't want to cast any allegations on anybody's character. But philosophically, Vedic culture means that you can disagree with somebody and you can give your reasons for disagreeing with them. So this is Vedic culture. So respect for everybody, but philosophically, we can disagree on certain points. So dear devotees, in disagreement with Charan Das Babaji is not only Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahashay, is not only Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, is not only Sri Radha Govindanath, but also Sri Kanu Priya Goswami. This no longer is just a tussle with one institution. It is a difference of opinion with almost all the other major Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And therefore, you see Hare Krishna Mahamantra is chanted freely in many traditional lineages of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And at the same time, you will see some Gaudiya Vaishnavas are also chanting the chant which was made by Charan Das Babaji. Dear devotees, everyone should meditate on what is the Siddhanta and what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave and what the six Goswamis gave. At the end of the day, there should be no character assassination, and everyone, it's a free world. Everyone is free to choose their path after investigating thoroughly. So dear devotees, this is Sri Kanu Priya Goswami, and all his arguments were published also in a Hindi book, which is called Hare Krishna Mahamantra Jap or Kirtan Vidhan. And this book was published. Fortunately, I got a copy of this book and I scanned this particular book. And it's very nice that he wrote all these arguments so that it could be clarified that Hare Krishna Mahamantra can be freely sung kirtan without any sense of counting. So dear devotees, Param Vijayate, supremely victorious, is śrī-kṛṣṇa-saṅkīrtanam. Shri is also a name of Hara, Hare. So supremely victorious is Hare Krishna Sankirtanam. It will only be supremely victorious if we free it from all the shackles that have been artificially placed upon it. Otherwise, what is the meaning of saying Param Vijayate? And then we should say Param Vijayate, some other Sankirtanam. But how will Hare Krishna Sankirtan be Param Vijayate if we place shackles of some rules and regulations upon it? This, dear devotees, is Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. We have not yet completed our discussion on the verse. There are many aspects of Hare Krishna Mahamantra remaining. So we'll take it up next time. There are also opinions of some other Vaishnavas on this entire issue. So I'll try to do a summary of them next time. And then there is also the popular opinion that originally the Mahamantra is Hare Ram first in the Upanishad. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reversed it. Did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reverse the Mahamantra? Or was it already reversed? We will see it next time. We will see many other things in the next presentation. I'd like to thank all of you, dear devotees. Yadatra Skhalitam Kinchit Vidvam Saha Purayantu Tat. Yadatra Saushthavam Kinchit Tad Guru Reva Menahi. Yadatra Skhalitam Kinchit. If there's any mistake in what I said, Vidvam Sa, your learned devotees, Purayantu Tat. Please correct any mistakes. Yadatra Saushthavam Kinchit. But if there's anything nice, please understand Tad Guru Reva. It belongs to my Gurujanas. Menahi. It doesn't belong to me. My respects to all personalities. I have no disrespect for any personality. Even though there may be individuals in other groups who may have disrespect for Gurujanas from my side, but I don't carry the same attitude because I know that I didn't come to the path of spiritual life in order to make enemies with anybody. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Hari Parsha Prabhu, for a very interesting class. I was not aware of this whole controversy or the history of the whole thing. And so it's just very elucidating to understand the history of our tradition and different issues that have come up and been resolved. So thank you very much for the wonderful class. If you're watching on YouTube and you'd like to join our WhatsApp group, you can just send an email to, sorry, are you able to see it? There we go.
Yeah.
You can just send an email to this email address and include your WhatsApp number and country code, and we'll add you. We're going to go to questions and answers, and that way you'll be able to watch the live classes and ask questions live if you want to. But we're going to go to Q&A now, and we just request that you only ask questions related to today's class. And Would you like to specify about the second rule, Prabhuji, about questions about particular persons or institutions?
Yeah, if for today's class only, if we want to name certain persons, please name them respectfully and don't cast any allegations on anybody's character. Right.
We want to leave time for everyone, and so we request that you just ask one question at a time with the possible short follow-up, and not several questions at a time or one after another, where you take up several minutes of the Q&A and other people are all waiting. But if you have more questions, you can ask them. Just please ask one and then get back in line and we'll come back to you. And if you have questions that would require a lot of research, please ask them in the WhatsApp group. Anything else, Prabhuji?
No, Prabhuji. Thank you. Let's begin.
Thank you. So we'll go to our first question from Kriparama Prabhu.
Dandavats, Hariprasad Prabhu, and all the Vaishnavas. Other thing that I have listened of this Bhajan Nitai Gaura Radhesyam is that we don't sing this because in this mantra they compare Nitai with Radharani and Gauranga with Syam. I know that some Babas say that Radharani is Nitai or Nitai is Ananga Manjari, and there is not difference. What is your opinion about that?
See, the thing, Prabhu, is that once there is a new chant, there will obviously be many interpretations of the chant. So you can find many ways to connect two personalities. And you can also say that, Nitai wears blue and Radha wears blue. So both are same. So in that way you can, and Gaura wears yellowish and Krishna wears yellowish. So you can, compare both of them simply by the color of their cloth. So you can, many interpretations can be there. I will say one thing. I also particularly, with all due respect, I also find that there is a grammatical issue with the chant. There's a basic grammatical issue with the chant. And I will specify this grammatical issue because especially for somebody who analyzes purely from a grammar point of view, because it says bhaja means worship, and worship whom? It says Nitai, Gaura, Radhe, Shyama. So bhaja means it is an instruction that you must worship whom? Nitai, all right. Gaura, okay. It should be Radha, because Radhe is calling out to Radha. So for Nitai, Gaura, it is all right. But when you say Radhe means oh Radhe, you are saying like this. I hope you're able to understand. So it should be Radha, not Radhe. Bhaja, Nitai, Gaur, and then it should be Radha Shyam. Like we call in our temple the deities Radha Shyam Sundar, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha. So Radha Damodar. So it should be Radha Shyam. Even if, just hypothetically, if you consider it purely from a grammatical point of view, Radhe is an invocation. It is not the object of the verb bhaja. So, that in itself is a grammatical issue with the chant. But since many people's emotions and feelings are associated with that chant, therefore I don't get into all these details. But once you make a new chant, then there will be many new interpretations, and therefore all of that culture starts after a new chant is created. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, for this reason, was also against the creation of a new chant. So I hope that answers your query to some degree of satisfaction. Right.
Thanks, Prabhu.
Next we have Ajay Richaria. I hope I said that right.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're also visible. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for clearing out this very controversial topic very easily. And my question is like this chant, Bhajanitai Gauranga Radhe Sham, Hare Krishna Hare Ram. We also see that in Siksastakam it says the Pratipadam Purnamritasvadanam. So it also has 4 syllables, right? Hare Krishna Hare Ram. So how much would that rasa swadan would come out?
The Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said there's also a problem in the rasa swadan. Ajay Prabhu, let's keep Ajay Prabhu unmuted because I want to ask a few questions, Ajay Prabhu. From any of the 6 Goswamis, have you heard any chant which mixes the name of Gaura and Radha and Krishna together?
No, I haven't.
We have before we chant the Mahamantra, we have śrī-kṛṣṇa-Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shrivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All the names are limited to the practitioner devotees, sadhaka devotees. There is no name of any siddha personality of the spiritual, means of Goloka Vrindavan. So all the Goswamis, they clearly segregated sadhaka names and siddha names in their chants. Like in the Shad Goswami Ashtakam, you have He Radhe Vraja Devi ke Chalalite, He Nanda Suno Kuta, Shri Govardhan Kalpa Pad Patale. In that, they are purely chanting names of Radha Krishna and the associates. There is no name of Mahaprabhu's associates there. And when they chant Mahaprabhu's associates' names, there are no Radha Krishna names included in that. So, in the chants, because Mahaprabhu's rasa towards his devotees is separate, and this rasa towards Radha Krishna's devotees is separate, better not to mix these two rasas in a single chant. And that is, that is what I'd like to say in this particular regard. So, once again, your query, Prabhuji, what was your query once again?
I was saying, how much would that rasa swadan be? Because we say na Purna Amrita Swadanam.
Yeah. So Purna Amrita Aswadana, there should be one fixed rasa that the entire mantra is based upon. Because if you are pertaining to Madhuri rasa. Now I'll also tell you another factor. See, let's say somebody is in Vatsalya ras. Let's say somebody is in the mood of a parent. For them, how will they see Mahamantra? Will they see Hare as Radha or will they see Hare as Hari, Shri Krishna? What should they see Hare as?
Shri Krishna.
Shri Krishna. Obviously, because, this is Vatsalya ras, and Vatsalya and Madhurya don't mix. But when you say Bhajan, Itai, Gaur, Radhe and Sham, Radha and Sham are compulsory included in that chant. Now, a particular person who belongs to Vatsalya ras, how will that person take this particular chant? I hope you are able to understand. For them, how will it be Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam? Because that Padam, Radhe, along with Sham, it sort of contradicts their mood of being a parent. But when they chant Hare Krishna, they can take Hare as Hari, they can take Krishna as also Hari, they can take Ram as also Hari, and have different meanings of Hare Krishna and Ram and effortlessly chant the entire mantra. So Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it can give Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam to all the rasas. And that's how the Mahamantra is given in the Vedas. But for other newly created chants, you will have to really stretch it out in order to, or it is impossible to do justice to all the rasas. So that is, I hope that answer satisfies your query.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Next we have Svarupini Harini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Sadar Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the nectarian class, Prabhuji. I have so many questions about this Japa and Kirtan which you have clarified. I still, in my sadhana, I still have one more question where when I am in public and I completed my 16 rounds, and at that time, is it okay for us to chant it without any voice coming out, but internally? And in that way, do we need to do the counts, or is it okay to not count? And is it considered as Mahamantra? Or sometimes I say Radhe Radhe, so just the Naam also has the same potency, they say. So it was all confusion whether is it okay to do in that way. And I have been practicing meditation for the past 15 years before coming to Krishna consciousness, and there mantra has been introduced to me in such a way, when we are into complete dhyana of meditation, that's when you have to utter only once, not many times. So it automatically comes in you, and that's when you have to only utter once, and that's it. You are not supposed to repeat it multiple times. So that is the way I was taught. And then when coming to Krishna conscious, the mantra is everything, and then you do it all the time. So in that perspective, could you please explain?
Yeah, sure. So after the required vow of chanting a certain number of rounds is complete, you are free to utter the Mahamantra even without a count. There is no particular restriction on that. This is very clearly understood. There is no restriction that you have to keep a count of every Mahamantra. You have to keep a count for your daily japa. But after that, you can chant countlessly. There is no necessity of keeping a count. Khaite shuite. While eating, while sleeping, you can chant, no problem. The, the aspect that you are saying that you chant in the mind, that is called Manasik Japa. Manasik Japa has certain rules given in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, and it also needs some guidance and permission of the Gurujanas. Because Manasik Japa needs you to sit down in one place, concentrate your mind. You can't just be walking here and there and doing it. So Manasik Japa is a stringent type of Japa which has some stringent requirements, and guidance of the Guru and instructions of the Guru are required in this regard. So if you wish to chant Manasik Japa, please follow the procedure given in the Hari Bhakti Vilas according to the directions of the Guru. And then it is possible to chant the Mahamantra even on a Manasik level. But what you were taught previously was coming from the Ashtanga Yoga school of thought, and the Bhakti Yoga school of thought has differences in many places, because the Bhakti Yoga school of thought encourages repetition of the words, not that once you utter. The Bhakti Yoga school of thought encourages the repetition of the names, because kirtanam brings smaranam, smaranam brings kirtanam, kirtanam brings smaranam, smaranam brings kirtanam. This is the conclusion of Sri Sanatana Goswami in the Brihad Bhagavatamritam. I will quote from Brihad Bhagavatamritam, and what he says. Let me quickly pull out that particular verse from Brihad Bhagavatamritam, where Sri Sanatana Goswami is saying that from Dhyan arises Sankirtan, from Sankirtan arises Dhyan. Both are complementary to each other. It's not that one should perform Sankirtan only once, and then one should perform Dhyan. So this is Sri Sanatana Goswami, and I am sharing my screen so that you can have a look. Here it is. So Brihad Bhagavatamritam says, Sankirtanat dhyana sukham vivardhate, dhyanatcha sankirtana madhuri sukham, अन्योन्य संवर्धकतानुभूयते, स्माभिस्तयोस्तद्वयमेकमेव तत्. By Sankirtan, the joy of meditation grows. By meditation, the joy of Sankirtan grows. In our experience, the two methods fortify one another, and therefore the two methods are in one way, they are one, although they have been named differently and they have two separate practices, but they have two separate dedicated paths. But they are one because they nourish each other. So in this way, there is similarity between the two processes. So this is what is supposed to happen. Sankirtan is supposed to increase your dhyan, not independently. So that is the answer to your query. I hope that answers your query to a certain degree of satisfaction.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So that means whatever we are chanting in the Sankirtan or in a public when we are with other people, can that be considered as a japa? I mean, can that be, if you're not completed 16 rounds and if you are in a Sankirtan for
Sorry to interrupt. Is it okay if we come back to you? We have other people in line.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next we have NKD.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. This is Nagar Kirtan Das. Thank you very much. I'll just want to thank both of you for some great classes you keep doing. And one point that I really liked at the end there, you said, I did not join into spiritual life in order to make enemies. That alone was just worth the whole class. What a beautiful point. And other question is very simple probably, but I just was wondering about, I think it was the tattva, the disturbance of the tattva is one of the reasons of why the mantra is not to be modified that you mentioned. And sometimes when we're chanting japa, I've seen, other sadhus do this, and I myself sometimes feel like chanting Gauranga's name or Nityananda's name kind of like sporadically, or there's devotees who very religiously chant the Panchatattva mantra in between each round. I've heard, I don't know where that's been instructed. I've heard that it's never really was an instruction, but the devotees just sort of picked that up because Prabhupada said you chant Jai Shri Krishna um, before chanting Maha Mantra, but then the idea is that was actually meant for kirtan, not necessarily japa. So I was just wondering about in terms of japa specifically, um, is that a disturbance to the tattva, to while you're chanting your Maha Mantra to intermittently chant names of Gauranga and Nityananda, either alone or as the Panchatattva mantra in between rounds?
So, Srila Prabhupada instructed Panchatattva mantra to be chanted during kirtan. That was the instruction given. Somehow um, it got introduced into japa to the point that sometimes we are seeing devotees are chanting Panchatattva mantra before every round. That was not instructed anywhere as far as I know. It was only there was an instruction for kirtan, and that too only once, to ensure that Mahaprabhu's mercy is there and that there are no aparadhs in the performance of the Sankirtan. In Japa, we have Srila Prabhupada's Japa tape, and we don't hear him chanting Panchatattva mantra in Japa rounds. So there is no such necessity to chant Panchatattva mantra in Japa rounds as far as Srila Prabhupada's instructions are concerned. In Japa, some sadhus, you are saying in between they chant Gauranam or something like that. Well, Japa is performed with nirbandha. Nirbandha means a determined vow. And a determined vow basically means that you will chant a fixed quantity and you will not utter anything else in between. That is what the vow means, basically. Because if you introduce other personalities in between and the meaning of the Maha Mantra is flowing in the direction of Radha and Krishna, because all the meanings of the Maha Mantra that we have from the previous acharyas are basically Radha Krishna centric meanings. And then suddenly you introduce Gauranga Mahaprabhu in between. So then to switch from Goloka Vrindavan to Mahaprabhu's leela and then back to Goloka Vrindavan, that itself creates a sort of a switch which is not desired by the previous acharyas. So therefore, it is recommended that once a person has taken a vow of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, they chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra continuously and not utter anything in between. Anyways, when we, in the Upadeshamritam series, we had also discussed the 6 good qualities of japa, one of which is maunam. Maunam is not to speak anything else except for the mantra that we are uttering during japa. So to maintain mauna, to not utter anything else during japa is also very good, because once you start uttering other things, then other things start getting introduced. Now we have chanted Gauranganam. Why not chant a Bhagavatam verse between 2 rounds? Why not chant an entire Bhagavatam chapter between the 2 rounds to inspire yourself? So those sort of things will start getting introduced. Better to avoid that. And the Hari Bhakti Vilas says Maunam. Let's keep quiet and not chant anything else in between our rounds. So that is I hope that answers your query to some degree of satisfaction. Hare Krishna.
Hare Parsha Prabhu, I can't recall the exact reference, but I remember reading one bhajan by one Vaishnavacharya where he had said that he had actually recommended chanting the Panchatattva Mahamantra before Hare Krishna. Have you seen anything like that?
As far as I know, the Panchatattva mantra, it came in the parampara of Sri Jagannath Das Babaji, Sri Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, and it was given like that. And it is mainly for kirtan. That is what, at least the understanding that I have had till now. Of course, every day new facts come to light, but at least from what I have read till today, there is no injunction to chant it after every round of japa. But there may be a possibility that for kirtan, of course, there may be a recommendation. Because what to speak of that, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in every chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jai Jai Shri Caitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. That's how every chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita begins. Chaitanya Charitamrita is also kirtan. Basically, it is also a form of kirtan that he is doing. So at the beginning of every chapter, just as he puts that Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, and Jai Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Similarly, before our Nam Kirtan also we have Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. I can understand for Kirtan, I can understand, but I have not come across any reference for Japa. And I'm open to new evidence. So if anybody finds any new evidence, I'm open to examining new evidence. But this is where I am at this point of time. Right?
Thank you very much. And nice to see you or hear your voice, Nagar Kirtan Prabhu. Next we have Vishwadeep Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you for today's class. It was a very nice class and such a proper understanding of our tattva without like doing blaspheming other. Like I have seen nowadays, to prove our point, we go to any extent and just bash on other sampradaya. So thank you for such a nice explanation. Prabhu, my question is that for Praman, we say aptam aptavakyam pramanam. So vakya of apta purusha.
Yeah. The testimony of a reliable person is considered as one of the pramanas. All right, sure.
Yes, right.
Okay.
And of course, there is later on there has been divided apaurushaya and paurushaya.
Right.
But now just considering that when we say aptavakya, and that is not going against the Vedic scriptures, so at what level of reliability we can give to any statement? Because there are many things said by many aptas, and sometimes harmony cannot be made out directly, and also seeing shastras, it's sometimes possible that we are not able to come in a harmony between them. So at what level of reliability we should take a apta vakya? Even
Right.
the definition of apta can go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. So, see, what you spoke was containing many technical words. So I'll clarify what you spoke. In the Nyaya Sutras of Gautam Rishi, there are 16 padartha, there are 16 substances, one of which is praman. Praman is proof, a means of proof. So one of the means of proof is shabda praman. And shabda praman is verbal testimony. Verbal testimony is defined by Gautam Muni as aptopadeshah shabda. That the word, the testimony of a reliable person is called as shabda praman. Commenting upon this, Vatsyayan Muni, commentator on Nyaya Sutra, says that this reliable person can be a rishi, a sage. He can also be a malechha, a cow eater, as long as he's an expert in the respective subject matter. Anybody who's an expert in their respective subject matter can be considered as an apta, a reliable person who can give verbal testimony. For example, if you want to check if an airplane is designed properly or not, you may not go to a rishi, but you may go to an engineer, an aircraft engineer, and for you that aircraft engineer is apta for that particular feat. In fields of adhyatma, in fields of spirituality, therefore Shabda Praman gets categorized into two types. Shabda, which is Paurushaya, spoken by an ordinary human who may have 4 defects, and Shabda, which is Apaurushaya, Shabda, which is coming from non-human source, that is the Vedas. So, as much as possible, we should support our understanding directly from Shastra. And directly from Shastra means that it should directly come from the 4 Vedas and the Puranas. And the 4 Vedas and Puranas contain most of the principles, including Rasa Shastra is also there in Agni Puran.
Yeah.
Most of the principles are there. In the context of the current discussion, Hare Krishna Mahamantra or another chant, Hare Krishna Mahamantra is directly coming from Apaurushaya Praman. It is already coming from Vedas. Now, obviously, Hare Ram comes first in the Upanishad. But Hare Krishna is also coming first. That we will reserve for next time. But Hare Krishna is also coming first from a Shastra. And Hare Ram is also coming first from a Shastra. Both are coming from Shastra. When both are coming from Shastra, Shastra should be given preference over anything else. So both parties should agree that at least Hare Krishna Mahamantra is what the Shastra has given. Right? So somebody may say this is our authority. And somebody else may say this is our authority. All right. But both authorities should claim maximum validity from Shastra. As long as they are claiming maximum validity from Shastra and from previous aptas, from previous sadhus, to that degree, you can put faith and trust in them. And if they are not quoting previous Shastra, if they are not quoting previous authority, then a particular doubt begins. Because this is how new cults begin. Suddenly with a person gaining a realization out of, thin air and saying that this is my new realization from now on. This is what you are supposed to believe. And then an institution forms around him. And then once an institution forms and a few hundred years pass by, it is solidified in stone and you dare not speak against him. That is what happens. So, this culture should not be encouraged, because Vedic culture is yukti yuktam vacho grahyam na grahyam guru gauravat. Accept what is logical. Don't accept just because you have pride in your guru. So this is Vedic culture. Vedic culture also says that yukti yuktam vacho grahyam apyuktam shukena, that even if a parrot has said, you can accept.
Brahma, if it is.
If it illogical, ayuktikam tu nagrahyam apyuktam padma yonina. Illogical statement coming even from Lord Brahma should not be accepted. So this is yukti yuktam vachograhyam baladapi shukadapi. Ayuktikam tu nagrahyam apyuktam padma yonina. This is what, from childhood my Gurujanas, they instilled this quality, that be rational always. Be rational always. Don't just surrender your intelligence blindly. So that is Vedic culture. All right. I hope that satisfies your query to a certain degree.
Thank you so much.
Next we have Shastra Sar Prabhu Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I had a question more about the continuance of the Sakhi-bheki philosophy post Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, because I was curious in the sense that Chakravarti Pad is very explicit in talking about how Vrajaloka Anusarita means in the Sadhaka Deha one would follow Sri Rupa Goswami and his associates, while in their Siddha Deha and their Manasi Seva they engage in Seva in a different body.
Right.
However, is the continuance of such a practice due to a lack of acceptance of Chakravarti Pad, or a lack of understanding Chakravarti Pad or studying him, or?
See, the issue is sometimes some incidents occur in some individual's life and they take those incidents very seriously and take it as life-changing incidents. So some incidents occur in the lives of people where they feel this deep inspiration that I should take up the dress of a Sakhi. And so when a person is in that fervor, they sometimes don't consider the statements of the previous acharyas. And the original intention may not be to defy the previous acharya, but in the fervor of the moment, some decisions they make that are inadvertently going against the teachings of the previous acharyas. When that is done and then such people are recognized as authorities, then what happens is that the position and the philosophical stance taken by them is solidified in history. And when that happens, then people who are not so qualified also start imitating those practices. Last year, when I had gone to Jagannath Puri, I went to Siddha Bakul. I'll tell you, I saw a person who was dressed in a sari and he was rolling on the floor. As soon as he saw me, he rolled on the floor and started crying out. So I understood that he is coming from this particular branch that Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur was speaking about. In Vrindavan also, I showed you some photographs I have seen. So, Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, Pancharatra Vidhim Vina. In Shruti, Smriti, Puran, there is no such method given that you should cross-dress. And Shri Rupa Goswami says, when you do like that, Utpataya eva kalpate. It leads to disruption of individual life or social life. It leads to some disturbance in one's own life or disturbance of society. So such practices are best not to be carried out, and none of the associates of Mahaprabhu did like that. So I hope that answers your query to a certain degree of satisfaction.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you.
Next we have Omkar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for the wonderful presentation today, Prabhuji. Gave so many pramanas, and the discussion was also very respectful. Prabhuji, my question was about when you were explaining about the Japa and the mixing of the different parikaras of Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna Leela.
Japa is a flower. Japa is chanting.
Yes,
Right?
Japa. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. So, yes, so I was saying like where you mixed the two I mean, you were speaking about this thing that we should not mix the two leelas of Mahaprabhu and Shri Krishna Leela. But it's actually, it seems very natural because in many of the works of Acharyas, I mean, while Smaran also and in some other limbs also, like Mahaprabhu is connected very much to Radha Krishna. Like even our japa, I think you also mentioned in some of your lectures, I think in Upadeshamrit, and like, you know, our mood of chanting Hare Krishna is basically Mahaprabhu's, we are
Seva.
pacifying the,
Yeah.
yes. So in
Alright.
such a case, isn't it a kind of also mixture? And don't know why, maybe it's the culture, but actually over time it's very sweet for a sadhaka. Like
Sure.
when we invite such some samskaras, it becomes very sweet for a sadhaka to connect Mahaprabhu and Krishna Lila always.
Sure.
So
Sure.
please.
So to connect Mahaprabhu and Krishna Lila is very sweet. But the acharyas have also always maintained two separate compartments. So therefore, I asked the query that in all the Nam Sankirtan by the previous 6 Goswamis, have you ever seen a mixture of Gaura Nam and Krishna Nam, in a particular Nam Kirtan? So you will not find any Nam Kirtan from the 6 Goswamis where they have mixed Gaur and Krishna and Radha in a single chant. The Goswamis always kept the distinction. Even if you see Sri Rupa Goswami's invocation verses in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu or in Ujjwal Nilmani, the invocation verse for Mahaprabhu is separate. The invocation verse for Shri Krishna is separate. In Laghu Bhagavatamritam, the invocations are kept separate. He never mixes the two into one. So, we are speaking specifically in the context of Nam Kirtan. And in the context of Nam Kirtan, also if you see the songs of Sri Narottam Das Thakur.
Yes, actually I was going to say that.
Yeah. So if you see the songs of Sri Narottam Das Thakur, one song is dedicated entirely to Gauranga. Like, what song is that? Gauranga Karuna Karo, which is so this is purely Sadhaka body song. And then there is Radha Krishna Pranam or Jugal Kishore, where this no thinking that I'm very fallen or please rescue me. There's no thinking like that. It's just I'm already in a Siddha Deha and I'm serving Radha and Krishna. This is my aspiration. So even in his Prarthana, he has clearly segregated the songs. So when the Acharyas have drawn this clear segregation between Sadhaka Deha and Siddha Deha, it is our duty to maintain that segregation. And that segregation has a purpose. The purpose is, Prabhu, really, frankly speaking, Sadhaka body is not fit to enter Siddha pastimes. It is a masculine body cannot enter into the private chambers of Shri Radha Krishna Lila. So, and for you to suddenly switch identities, like halfway through the mantra, and then again switch back, that is not at all natural, and it's not organic, and it's not recommended. Assume one identity, sadhak or siddha, and flow freely with the identity. And once your particular meditation is done, and then if you have been gifted with a siddha deha, then you can switch identity and go to another meditation. That's it. That's a big if you are gifted with a siddha deha. If not, you're only in your sadhak deha, and you can only aspire for a siddha deha. That Morai Abhilash, Vilas Kunje Diyovas, Ei Nivedan Dharo, Sakhir Anugat Karo, Seva Adhikar Diye, Karm Nij Dasi. So all this, please always maintain a line of segregation that the previous acharyas have done. That line can be easily breached in the fervor of emotion, but even in the fervor of emotion, the previous acharyas have not breached that line. The Pramani Shri Narottam Das Thakur. I hope that answers your query to some degree of satisfaction.
Yes, I'd like to add, ask one
Sure.
just small thing.
Sure.
Like in the recent times, we see the Smaran Padhatis of different acharyas. They have interspersed Mahaprabhu's Leela with Krishna Leela also. The Smaran Padhatis.
Do they put Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna in a single place in a single Leela?
No.
No. Obviously, they
When
don't
we
do.
are thinking about Mahaprabhu, the whole environment is basically on that.
Obviously, the framework of Mahaprabhu's remembrance is different. Yes. The framework of Radha Krishna remembrance is different. Please maintain that segregation. Although verses may flow one after another, but the framework is completely different. In a single verse, don't mix them. In a single setting, don't mix them. In a single environment, don't mix them. So I hope that clarifies.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, sure. Definitely. Yes, sure. Thank you. That's clear.
Next we have Kamala Mataji and Kamniya Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Babaji, my humble obeisances at the lotus feet and humble obeisances at lotus feet of Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, who is putting hard effort in arranging every weekend. Thank you so much, and all the Dhanbad to all the Vaishnavas. For the very beautiful class, and you have tried to give us, Harinam, Saṅkīrtanam, how it is a bash from the different angles. So probably you, in a conversation, you mentioned one statement that kirtanam brings smaranam, and smaranam brings kirtanam. So especially when we do japa, right? So many of the times, I think it happens that our focus, our mind takes us to some of the smaranam. So should we forcibly bring our mind back to japa, or little bit of smaranam at that time is not offensive, or is it okay to have what? So how we should, because if our mind goes to some of the material aspect, definitely we have to bring it back to japa, I understand. But when it is specifically for the smaranam of something, should we bring back, or so anyway, that smaranam will not be long lasting for sure, right? I guess we're not that level. So it might be some of the seconds, but still we should possibly try our focus back to the japa.
So often it happens that a particular sadhaka, while performing their japa, gradually they start advancing. And when they start advancing, then what happens is that, they start, remembrance comes as a natural effect of, chanting Hare Krishna, even in Japa. Many places, Srila Prabhupada used to say that while chanting Japa, it is natural that one will have remembrance of Shri Krishna. One particular place is in a lecture, and I will point this out. He was saying, as soon as you chant Hare Krishna, immediately you will remember Krishna. And let me share that screen with you. So this is a lecture when he says, so Smarit, as soon as you chant Hare Krishna, you immediately remember Krishna. How to remember Krishna? There is deity. You always see the deity and you remember Krishna, this form of Krishna, name of Krishna, quality of Krishna, entourage of Krishna, pastimes of Krishna. So many places Srila Prabhupada specified that, this will happen. But there's also another reference in the same line. Let me see. There was another particular reference where he was speaking in a lecture, where he was saying, as soon as you chant Hare Krishna, immediately you remember Krishna, Krishna's form, Krishna's fighting, Krishna is sitting on the chariot of Arjuna. Let me share that also with you. I'm sharing my screen. This is from a lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam on 19 March 1967. As soon as you chant Hare Krishna, immediately remember Krishna, Krishna's form, Krishna fighting, Krishna is sitting on the chariot of Arjuna. If you read Krishna book always, some of his pastimes will immediately come appear in my brain immediately as soon as you chant Hare Krishna. That is required. He says Smaranam, automatically. So there are two things he's saying. Smaranam should come automatically. It should not be forced artificially. Secondly, it is required, but it should be from one of the authentic books or literature. It should not be a product of some speculative literature which is not written by an authoritative person. It should come from a proper authoritative literature such as Srimad Bhagavatam, Gopal Champu, Anand Vrindavan Champu, Krishna book, etc. So, but it should happen naturally. It's not that you sit with the aim that now, while chanting, I must have Smaran. No. When it comes naturally, you don't stop it. And when it doesn't come naturally, you don't force it. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is recommending here. So I hope that satisfies your query.
Sure, Bobby. Thank you so much. So, will you be able to share that Word document or maybe some paragraph?
I'll share the paragraph in the Q&A group.
Thank you so much. Thank you
you.
so much.
Next we have Krishna Das Patra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhuji.
Pranam Prabhu.
Prabhuji, my question is it appropriate to chant the Mahamantra in the mood of Siddha Deha Lalasamai Prarthana? Why I'm asking this question because I was reading that this Mahamantra.
Siddha Deha Lalsamai Prarthana may not be understandable by many of the participants. You have to clarify what is the meaning of that. I'll clarify. Is it okay to chant Mahamantra as an aspiration for attaining one's perfected body? That's what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, why I'm asking this question because I was reading that this Mahamantra is a vocative case.
Right.
Sambodhan.
Yeah.
And when there is a vocative case, it is the mood of separation is already there in that because without distance, this vocative case is not applicable. So,
without a distance, vocative case is not applicable?
When vocative means Sambodhan is to calling out. Sambodhan means.
Right. But you can also call out to Bhagwan within the heart, who is very close to you. Isn't it? In the Mana Shiksha, Nanu Mana, he is calling out to Mana, oh dear mind. Where is the mind? Is the mind far away or located near him?
Near.
There is no such requirement, compulsory requirement. Although in most cases, vocative case refers to a person who's far away, but there's no such hard and fast requirement because you can also refer to your own mind. And in Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you're also referring to Bhagwan, who's also seated within the heart, Radha Krishna seated within your heart. So there's no such, hard and fast that vocative case means the person should be located far away. There's no such thing.
Okay, bro.
And the general meaning of Mahamantra is, O Hare, O Krishna. And then what? Why are you calling? Well, kindly engage me in your seva. So then that is automatically an aspiration for Nitya Seva. And that aspiration can include anything, including Lalsamai Seva.
Okay, bro. Thank you.
Next we have Nritya Gauranga Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavats Pranam. Thank you so much for the wonderful class again. And also thank you, Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, for consistently organizing these classes. Yeah. So Prabhu, my question is again towards the Japa. Like,
Japa,
when we are chanting,
Japa is flower. Japa with the long A is the name of a Sanskrit flower. Japa with the short A. Right.
Thank you. Thank you for the correction. Japa. So the question is, like when we are chanting, we want to listen to the holy name. I mean, listen to the names of the Krishna. But then because it is the same repetitive words, the mind tries to jump away to so many other thoughts that are going on. So in order to bring the mind back, is it appropriate to keep the kirtan in the background so that at least we are in that realm where the mind, we are not letting the mind to go up further away to different thoughts, but at least putting in the realm where the mind can still focus on the holy name? Not only like some people I see, they have the habit of listening to a lecture while chanting, so that at least the mind is within that realm. What are your thoughts on this?
The technique to keep the mind on the mind should be kept on the mantra. It's not that the mind should be kept on other things so that it doesn't go to material life. That is not the point of Japa. The point of Japa is to keep the mind directly on the mantra.
Yeah.
Now, if you say because the mind is distracted, let me have another engagement for the mind so that at least the mind will not be distracted to material things. But in any case, the mind is not on the main mantra that you're chanting. Then the mind is going on the lecture. The mind is going on the kirtan. Then the mantra which you are chanting on japa, that mantra is neglected automatically. Obviously, the end result is that your mind is either on the kirtan or your mind is either on the other lecture that you are listening to. So the end purpose is still defeated because your mind was supposed to be on the japa. What is the definition of japa? I had quoted many times. Mano madhye sthito mantra madhye sthitam mana. Mano mantra samayuktam etadhi japa lakshanam. The mind should be situated on the mantra and the mantra should be situated within the mind. So, if the mind is not situated in the mantra, if the mind is situated in a lecture or some other place, then we are not technically performing attentive japa. For this reason, it is necessary to follow the 6 guidelines given by Shri Sanatana Goswami and Gopal Bhatt Goswami in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, how to achieve natural, organic, effective, attentive japa without having to take to any artificial measures. So that I think it was discussed in one of the sessions of Upadeshamritam, where we discussed Adarat Anudinam, 7th verse of Upadeshamritam, Kintu Adarat Anudinam Khalu Saiva Jushta. So if you go to that Upadeshamritam series of talks, in the 7th lecture, you will find a discussion on how to chant with attention and with affection. So, and the techniques given by the previous acharyas are there. That will be very helpful, Prabhu. Right?
Sure. Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yes.
Next we have Kanai Sundar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for the
Okay.
Prabhuji, my question is regarding the Hare Krishna Mahamantra being in the vocative case, and also the understanding that the chanting, the name is Krishna. So how do we harmonize both these understandings in our chanting? We are calling out to Krishna, but at the same time, with this understanding that the name is itself Krishna. So what should be the mood? Calling out or just being focused that, yes, I'm with Krishna now. Let me just try to give all my heart into
So
the
the
holy.
name is non-different from Krishna, yet the acharyas have differentiated the name from Shri Krishna, because the acharyas have said that, I will share my screen. There is a relationship between Nam and Nami. Nami is the named personality, and Nam is the name. What is the relationship? The relationship is called Vachak-Vachya relationship. What is Vachak? Vachak basically means indicator. Vachya means indicated. So Nam, the syllables are the indicator sounds, and Krishna is the indicated personality. So this is Vachak and Vachya. Indicator means Vachak and indicated is Vachya. So Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur also has written a song about this difference, which I'd like to let me share my screen. Yeah. He says in Gitavali, Vachya o Vachaka dui swarup tomar, Vachya tava Shri Vigraha Chidanandakar. Oh Lord, you possess two transcendental forms, which is called Vachya, which is the named personality, and Vachak, which is the name. The Vachya, the named personality, is your personal form, and Vachak is your indicating name. So which is the names are Vachak and the named personality is Vachya, basically, short and sweet. So there is a difference. So you can keep this healthy difference in your mind, that the name is Vachak and Shri Krishna is Vachya. And in this way, there will be no confusion of absolute oneness. So the acharyas have given oneness, but that oneness is not absolute. There's also some difference between them. The difference is name is Vachak, named is Vachya. So that is what it is. I hope that clarifies your query. Okay.
One small, can I make further? And also, so with that, the Vachya and the Vachaka, they have non-difference. At the same time, there's a difference. So as Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare would be the Vachaka, would be different according to how we are calling out, because it could mean Hari also, as Lord, and also Shri. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that would
the Vachak, the indicator sound is Hare. The Vachya, the indicated personality, depends on the interpretation you are taking. Because acharyas have interpreted Hare as Hari, Krishna, and they have also interpreted Hare as Hara, Shri Radha. So this discussion is going to come up in the future sessions as to because Namna Makari Bahudha Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita, they have invested many potencies in your names. Not that one potency has been invested. All potencies have been invested in all the names. So we will see that when that discussion comes. But I'm giving a short introduction that depending on the interpretation that a devotee takes from the previous acharyas, the Vachya personality changes, although the Vachak remains the same. So that is the answer to the query. Right? Thank you.
Next, we have a question from Paramakaruna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for doing such wonderful research. I could see that the examples that you took out had to fulfill certain conditions. Having the full mantra with Sankhya, without Sankhya, in a certain context, only Hare Krishna mantra, the needs a lot of depth of all these writings and commentaries, and to pick out the right example from the Bengali script, where probably Control F search does not work, is just amazing. It just shows the immense depth and ability to find the right things at the right place, which is very, very difficult and rare. So thank you for giving us this wonderful presentation. I don't mean a PowerPoint presentation. I mean your presentation of the topic, the treatment of the topic.
Yes.
My question, probably it will get answered. That's why I was wondering whether to ask now or in subsequent classes. But since the topic has come up, when there is a discussion that the Lord has so many names, Nam Namakari Bahuta. I mean, so technically I can wait for the second verse, but there's a lot of discussion that occurred about Krishna and Lord Chaitanya's names, and we shouldn't mix. When we say Nam, the Lord has so many names, what is the understanding that a devotee should have about, are those Lord Chaitanya's names should be considered as one of the, many names of Lord Krishna? Or when it is said Nam, Lord, or, take your Sneha Samyukta or the Nam that you love. And one can love more than one name at some stage of their progress. Are Lord Chaitanya's names included in that, or one should just restrict it to Lord Krishna's names in that discussion? And then based on your answer, I might have a follow-up. I'm setting up a particular line of thought of my question.
Okay. So the thing is, do names, do all names have all the potencies, or do some names have special potency? So I'm just giving a brief introduction. When the topic will come up about Nam Akarin Bahudha Nija Sarva Shaktis. The recent Acharyas, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, have given a very beautiful line of distinction between Mukhya Nam and Gaun Nam. Mukhya Nam refers to names which directly invoke remembrance of Krishna's pastimes. Jai Radha Madhav, Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jan Vallabh, Girivardhari, Yashoda Nandan, Vraja Jana Ranjan, Yamuna Tira Vanachari. And then there are Gauna Nams which refer to his pastimes of creation or his being the super soul, Paramatma, Parameshwar, Jagat Karta, Jagat Bandhu, Jagadish. These names. There are so many in the Vishnu Sahasranam. So all names are invested with all the potencies, because Sanskrit is such a language that from any name you can extract any meaning. There is a phrase which says Sarve Shabda Sarvarthakaha. All terms have all meanings in Sanskrit. That's an expert person can take out all meanings from all the names. But when you get down to the nitty-gritties of it, you don't want to really squeeze an esoteric meaning out of a name. The meaning should come out naturally from the name. That is what you want to do. So, for example, I'll give you an example of this. There is a Shri Goswami has spoken this verse. śrī-kṛṣṇa-saṅkīrtanam sa-sanatana rūpakaha Gopala Ragunath. Gopala Ragunath. So he's actually referring to Gopal Bhatt Goswami and Raghunath Bhatt Goswami. But he also has a Krishna-centric meaning. The one meaning of Gopal is cowherd, and but how do you interpret Raghunath as Krishna? Raghunath as Krishna. So because Raghunath actually means Bhagwan Ram. So then he says Ralayo Rabed. There is no difference between Ra and La. So Raghunath means Laghunath, the small master. So of course you can squeeze meanings like that. No problem in that. But and I also know that a little bit of stretching is going on here. So you shouldn't have to do that, especially when you are chanting Nam. For creative poetry like Shri Goswami is doing, that is good. But while chanting Naam, the meaning should naturally should naturally come out from the Naam. You shouldn't have to, you eat food like this. Like this, you eat food usually. You shouldn't have to eat food by like this. That is, that is not how it is desirable. So this discussion will come up. Although all names have all potencies, but still we should have some preferences. So this is what I'd like to share in brief. But when that discussion comes up, we will discuss all the details, because I don't want to give all the details right now. It will leave no fun for the future. But I hope that satisfies your query to some degree.
My follow-up would have been, so yes, definitely, that's great. When you were talking about Bhaja, what was that?
Bhajanitai Gaur. Yeah.
Bhajanitai Gaur Radhe Shyam.
Yeah.
And also, then you mentioned about Japa, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, and then you mentioned that only 4 are taken, the remaining 12. In this whole discussion about not combining, and I understand the Rasabhas aspect. So
right.
Again, just as a devil's advocate or as a Purva Paksh, whichever way you want to look at it, my line of questioning would have been that it seems like, again, purely as a devil's advocate, it seems you are putting some rules. This should be, this should and shouldn't. How does one understand, even though it is said, there are no rules? And again, probably this is a topic for second verse, but that was where I was going to go with this, that where do we know that we are putting rules? Where do we think that, literally no holds barred?
Okay. Let's say, Prabhu, there is a person named Narad. And then there is another person whose name is simply Nara. Not the is not there at the end. So somebody said there are no rules for Narada. But you remove the and say there are no rules for Nara. But the 2 people are different. In the Upanishad, the mantra is very clearly specified. And the 16 words are specified. Now, there are no rules for this mantra. That is, the Upanishad sets the context. That Upanishad sets the boundaries of the mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The Upanishad sets the boundaries for the name and says there are no rules for this particular mantra. And Narad Muni asks, Ko asya vidhi? What is the vidhi for this mantra? And then Brahmaji replies, Na asya vidhi. There is no vidhi for this particular mantra. Otherwise, if we say that there is no vidhi means you can change the mantra. No. What is the vidhi for this mantra, for this personality? Because every mantra is treated as a different individual. So what is the rules for this individual? There are no rules for this individual. As long as you don't change the individual, the condition applies. But you change the individual, then the condition may no longer apply. So that is how it is. For example, you bring a new washing machine and it's from a particular company, and you say 2 years complete warranty, no questions asked. All right. And suddenly you replace it with an old washing machine from the same company, and then you say, well, I want to get this serviced. Well, it's not the same washing machine anymore. So it's not the same mantra when you are removing many words out of it. So that is what I'd like to say. I hope that satisfies your query to a certain degree.
But you're saying that no rules applied is for the whole Mahamantra, and we shouldn't change that. Right. I understand, but isn't there also the instruction that there are no rules for chanting the name itself, right? Yeah. And we even go to the extent of Halam Riktam and Raj Mahishi. I mean, it's like extreme, which I still... anyway, let's not go there. One second. But I'm just saying that it my understanding was it applies to the name also. So Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, if we just take that, so that individual name, not connecting it to a portion of the Mahamantra, then
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in the article, the Gaudiya, as far as I remember, he said, what is the problem with just saying Nitai Gaur Sitanath?
Yeah,
I
sure.
hope what's the he asked this question. What's the problem? Sitanath is referring to Advaita Acharya. What is the problem in saying Nitai Gaur Advaita or Nitai Gaur Sitanath? Why do you have to mix a separate leela within it? I hope you're able to understand. Because that mixture of separate leelas is not what is creating the difficulty. And especially because this is Tarak Brahma. Tarak Brahma means this is the naam you are using for your deliverance. And you are changing major things in that particular naam. So in your Tarak Brahma, if you are changing things, why are you bringing a completely different set of entities from a completely different framework and a completely different rasa into that same Tarak Brahma? So this was his objection. Either you say Jai Nitai Gaur Sitanath, keep it in Gaur Leela, and you say separately, Jai Radha Sham, Jai Radhe Sham, isn't it? Huh? Is You tell me, Srila Prabhupada also used to say, didn't Prabhupada used to say Jai Radhe Sham?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Didn't Prabhupada used to say Jai Nitai Gaur?
Yes.
Don't we say Nitai Gauranga? Jai Nitai Gauranga, Jai Nitai Gauranga, Jai Nitai Gaur. When we say separately, nobody has an issue with it. The issue is when you are mixing these two things in the same mantra and you are using it as Tarak Brahma, your mantra for deliverance. That is the issue that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has. Because mantras are for mananam, for specific meditation. For specific meditation. Now, you will have to really stretch your way to go from Nitai to Gaur and suddenly to jump from Radha and then to go to Shyam and then again come back to Nitai and Gaur to Radha to Shyam and then again to come back to that. Because the leelas are changing so rapidly. That is the objection. And the second objection is obviously that the previous acharyas have not recommended any such thing. So that is what it is. Right.
So as I understand, for the essence that I am taking away is for the Tarak aspect, for the my deliverance aspect,
right.
It is not conducive. And
It is
therefore it is
because
not
there
recommended.
are no vyakhyas, there are no explanations from the previous acharyas on the mantra. The explanations have to come from one particular personality who made the new chant. And the previous acharyas have given explanations which can fit all the rasas. Now my question to you is, can you fit all the rasas in this new chant?
Very, very hard or not possible.
Yeah, not possible. So obviously there are difficulties. So this is what, and I'm not saying it because I'm biased or something, but from a neutral point of view, if you examine, it's not that only Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying or Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur is saying. Either Sri Radha Govindnath is saying, Sri Kanu Priya Goswami is saying. They are all saying that, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the mantra given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just follow that and all rasas can fit into that one particular mantra. So that is what I'd like to say here.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
We have some questions in the chat. Each devotee offers their respects. I'll go straight to the question. How do we know if our japa is going well or not? Or should we worry about the results of our japa?
How do we know if our japa is going well or not? It is going well if we have sneha, if we have affection and attention in our japa. Affection means that with every mantra that we are chanting, we are feeling that closeness, we are feeling that proximity, and we are feeling that belongingness to Bhagavan and Srimati Radharani. And attention means we are able to hear ourselves clearly. So that is attention and affection are there. That is when japa is going good. And when japa is not going good, when we are hearing other things, when we are distracted, when we are disturbed, when we are not able to focus on the name, and when we don't have affection for it. That is when the distractions enter. So this answer is based on a combination of teachings of the previous acharyas that I have discussed in the Upadeshamritam. That, there's mano madhya sthito mantra should be situated in the mind. So the answer, I'm giving a rough answer, but it is based on a series of pramanas given by the previous acharyas. I can give the individual pramanas, but perhaps it is best to look at the 7th verse of Upadesh, 7th and 8th verse of Upadeshamritam.
That's available on YouTube. Sometimes in kirtan, devotees sing Jai Gaura Nitai, Jai Jagannath. Is this acceptable?
At the end, wonderful. At the beginning, wonderful. You are keeping the main Sankirtan separate and the invocation separate. Keep the invocation separate, main Kirtan separate. In between Hare Krishna Mahamantra, like somebody saying Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Jai Jagannath, Hare. You introduced a Vyavadhan, you introduced a disruption in between. I hope you're able to understand. So that is not recommended by any previous acharyas. Nobody did like that. Keep it as invocations in the beginning and the end, and give the entire focus in the middle part to the Mahamantra. That is what all acharyas have recommended.
How should we protect ourselves from devotees who pass personal comments or attacks on various Vaishnavas of other branches and moods? In what way should we be respectful and at the same time not have misunderstandings about tattva or siddhanta in day-to-day life when we come across devotees who may not have deeper understanding about others but are very vocal about passing comments and attacking various Vaishnavas or taking pride in their own mood, sangha institution, etc.?
So, when people have less knowledge and, at that particular point of time, when people don't study things from different angles of view and people don't appreciate the perspectives of others, at that particular point of time, they definitely have this attitude. And Bhartrihari is a very nice he's a nice Sanskrit poet, and he says in a particular verse that when I had little knowledge, I used to boast around everywhere. I was intoxicated like an elephant, and I used to boast around everywhere when I had little knowledge. But when I actually sat with the learned people, I realized how less I know. That's when I became the passions within my heart calmed down, and I learned to remain silent and listen to other people. So in every group, see, there is a reason why some people are speaking against other people, because it is perhaps a reaction to one group speaking first and then the other group speaking against it and then the other group speaking in reaction, and we can't trace back as to who started it right now. Sometimes organized religions speak against these groups, smaller groups, and then smaller groups speak against big organized religions, and you can find n number of topics to critique about any particular group. The point is, none of this helps anybody to attain Krishna Prem. None of it is helpful in attainment of Shri Krishna Prem. It is merely a distraction from the main purpose of attaining Shri Krishna Prem. If a guru is privately instructing his disciples, see, this is a problem in this particular group, this is a philosophical problem in this group, private instruction is good. Public slandering has never helped anybody. And I have not seen a single person switch sides because somebody critiqued their guru. I have not seen a single person till now who switched sides because their guru was critiqued. So this particular line of thought, that I will be victorious and I will win over others and then I will prove myself to be superior, this line of thought has to be given up. And the line of thought to be taken is, I will neutrally examine everything and I will select what is the best according to Sadhu, Guru and Shastra. So that is the neutral line of thought which everybody needs to take. And if somebody has critiqued our previous acharyas, there is the Bhagavatam verse, Nindam Bhagavatah Shrinvam Stat Parasya Janasya Va. One should not listen to the blasphemy of Bhagavan or the devotees of Bhagavan. Therefore, when I personally am speaking about other groups or other personalities, I don't assault anybody's character, because as a basic rule of decency, one should not do this. One should not do this. There are Vaishnavas who critique their own god brothers within the same institution publicly. Recently, I saw a particular lecture where there's a very senior preacher on this Vyasas, and he's saying certain preachers are giving wrong Siddhanta, They don't know what is the Siddhanta. And Prabhupada said this, and I know, and I can challenge anybody that you are wrong. This is not the way of speaking. When somebody has gifted us a Vyasasan, somebody has given us a garland and given us a place of respect, we should honor that place of respect. Similarly, there are also people in the audience who don't understand the etiquette or the maryada of being an audience. Some people sit in an audience and they directly target and start attacking the speaker. Why have you given a Vyasasan and a garland to a speaker if you want to attack them? So the culture of being a good speaker and the culture of being a good listener both need to be developed in every individual. And the way to do that is to see how the previous acharyas were discussing Shastra. I'll give a small example. In Naimisharanya, Suta Goswami was the speaker. Shaunak Rishi was the listener. Shaunak Rishi was much elder in age. And Shaunak Rishi was Bahvricha. He was learned in many hymns of the Rig Veda. Suta Goswami is just appointed. He is young in age because Romaharshan Sut was killed by Bhagwan Balram. Suta Goswami is young in age and he has not studied any of the four Vedas. Yet they give a higher seat to Suta Goswami because in terms of Puranas he knows more. They give him a garland, they give him lots of words of respect, and an elderly Shaunak Rishi sits down and he has the basic etiquette to ask questions. Whereas I often see that sometimes people who are elder by age, even if they're elder by age, sometimes they think that because we are elder by age, we need not follow the etiquette of asking questions. This is a very sad state of affairs sometimes. So the speaker should also know how to speak so as to not offend any person or not to assault anybody's character. And the audience also needs to know that if they are sitting for anybody's talk, then they should sit only when they have faith in the speaker. And if they don't have faith in the speaker, they should not sit simply for assaulting the speaker during the question and answer session. Because I have often seen, in not in my case, but in many other cases, I have often seen that poor speakers get assaulted by the audience. So that should not happen. We should develop a healthy culture, that culture which is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is what I'd like to say in this particular regard.
We have another question in the chat. Dandavats, all goes to Prabhupada. Thank you for the deep lecture. Would you please come? I'm sorry. In the Mahamantra, we have both Krishna and Rama Leela mixed.
The previous acharyas have not mixed both leelas. The previous acharyas have interpreted Ram also as a name of Krishna. Sri Jiva Goswami says, Shri Radham Ramayan Nityam Ram Ityabhidhiyate. Because he is Ramayan, he sports constantly with Radha. So from the verbal root Ram comes Ram, and Ram means he who, sports constantly with Shri Radha. That is why he is known as Ram. So the Ram in Mahamantra, according to the previous acharyas, refers to Shri Krishna. That is the answer to the query.
Next, we have Paramakaruna Prabhu.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Prabhuji, yeah. Okay. Sorry, I was switching headset. I have another question. And again, Prabhuji, purely in the spirit of understanding only, because this concept of Nam, I'm just so glad that you're taking it up in so detail and in general, but for me especially, it is who has no taste in the Nam. It's very important for me to understand all the aspects, and even if one little doubt is there, it disturbs me a lot because it's because of my lack of understanding and lack of taste. So I'm just trying to cover all my questions for my benefit. So in that spirit, so there is this verse in the Shad Goswami Ashtakam, Sankhya Purvak Nama Gana Natibihi.
Yeah.
So in that verse, Prabhuji, at least my limited understanding is, and this is connected to the point that you were bringing up so nicely today about the Sankhya aspect and how it applies to Japa and not to the kirtana and all.
Yeah.
Here, could you clarify, at least my limited Sankhya Purvak Nama Gana? So probably the Sankhya applies to the Nama, but not the Gana aspect, which or
Yeah.
that's what's
Alright.
coming up for me. Please clarify.
Nam Gan is one term, singing of name. You are splitting two terms. That is also good interpretation. But Nam Gan is one term. Namno Ganam iti Nama Ganam.
Yeah,
Singing
then how
of
do we
name.
apply Sankhya to it?
So they are uttering, sweetly uttering the names in a fixed by counting a fixed number. And they are doing nati. Nati means they are paying obeisances by a fixed number. So they are chanting japa sweetly in a fixed number. They are paying obeisances in a fixed number that Sri Ragunath Das Goswami used to do. So that verse is referring specifically to japa and to paying obeisances. But it is not referring specifically to kirtan. That verse is referring to japa. Because I showed you many pramanas where Mahāprabhu is referring to counted japa. I also showed you pramanas where Mahāprabhu is referring to uncounted kirtan. This particular pramana is referring to counted sweet japa and counted obeisances. So that is the literal interpretation, and that is how it should be taken. So I hope that satisfies your query, Prabhu. But it does not negate or invalidate the fact that Mahaprabhu and the previous acharyas, like when Sri Haridas Thakur and when Nityanand Prabhu used to go out for kirtan, they used to go out for inviting other people. They are not keeping a count that, please chant Hare Krishna. Then they write, oh, we chanted one more. That's not how they are doing it, because that is not organic, that is not natural. So I hope that answers your query, Prabhu. Okay.
My takeaway is Namagana is to be taken as japa, and then it aligns perfectly with what we discussed today.
Namagan is a samas, it is a combined term. It is not nam separate and gan separate. Nam gan is a samas, it is a combined term. Right?
Got it. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
Dandavats Prabhuji, I have a question. It's kind of a follow-up to Omkar Prabhu's question. While you were speaking, I got the impression that this tendency of mixing different personalities or leelas all in one place or all in one mantra, is that indicative of the same type of thinking that leads to the Sakhi-bheki tendency where the spiritual and the material are switched around in an inappropriate way?
Yeah. See, it's very nice because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wrote a separate book about this, Prakrita Rasa Shata Dushani, the 100 faults of material rasa, considering spiritual rasa, considering something material as spiritual rasa. Sometimes people don't understand what actually rasa is and how rasa is experienced, and then they start considering their material feelings as a spiritual experience, and it doesn't give them any long lasting results and sometimes makes them fall back into material life. So this same thing, Sakhi-bheki, that by donning the clothes and the activities of a Sakhi, I'll be able to actually realize the mood of a Sakhi. I'll be able to live the life of a Sakhi. So basically, you are changing something on the platform of the sadhaka deha, which is the material body, and you are expecting a change in the siddha identity, which is not recommended, because you shouldn't mix the divine and the profane. There is a phrase, don't mix the divine and the profane. The material body in its worst situation is considered as profane, and it should not be mixed with the divine. So that is what is the philosophy.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. And as a final note for everyone who's interested in learning more about chanting japa, if you go to YouTube and search for Pārṣada Prabhu Upadesha Amritam, you'll find the series that we previously did on that text, and especially the lectures on verse 7 cover in depth the topic of chanting and how you can chant better. Anything else to add, Prabhuji?
Very nice. I'm very happy and that you're kindly present here, Prabhu. And I'm very thankful to you, Prabhuji. Really grateful that you're hosting these sessions.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm really grateful to be here too. And I'll invite all the devotees now to unmute and give a big thank you to Hari Parsha Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Prabhuji ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ji ki
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hari Parsha Prabhu ki.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dhameśvara. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hari
Thank
Parsha Prabhu ki.
Hare Krishna.
Srila
Thank you,
Prabhupada.
Prabhuji.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Dhanyavad. Hare
Srila
Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.